Ladies and gentlemen, it's over. It's done. Case over. Gotta love Barron, man. Barron pulled a Vince Carter last night. It's over. Enough of the Fed slop. Let me hit you with fact after fact after fact. Oh my gosh. I woke up this morning in a great mood because the information that Barron dropped last night, when you talking about a bomb, Barron just completely shattered the Fed slop narrative. Shattered it with fact after fact after fact after fact. Gotta love Barron, man. He is a voice that completely changed the podcast community. Completely changed it. And I talked about, I gave him props on X. One day he might see it from little old me. But I talked about how Barron, he retired from his profession, as a lawyer. But he is still using his expertise every single day throughout this case. We needed somebody like Barron. This case needed somebody like Barron. So to this day, he's still being paid for his services, and rightfully so. He deserves it. Oh my gosh. And we're going to get to it. But first, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the sub button. We on the road to 20K. I'm sorry. On the road to 20K. And I appreciate all the support along the way. I really do. But last night, man, Barron dropped the episode of the year. Especially since this Charlie Kirk investigation been going on. He dropped an absolute bomb that shattered the FBI Fed slop original narrative, whatever you want to call it. He shattered it by providing the proof that Tyler Robinson was Mirandized at 6:25 p.m. on 9/11, right? September 11th. That is very important because they announced to the world that they got him. We got the guy on September 12th at 9 a.m. Eastern time. However, according to these court documents, if he was Mirandized at 6:25 p.m., how could it have been September 12th in the evening at 6:25 p.m. when they said that they arrested him at 10 p.m. according to the Fed slop? This is when the slop starts slopping. So Barron puts all the pieces together, which we'll go through and show all the facts. And one thing I love about Barron is that he always says, okay, if you don't agree with this first fact, then how about this one? Oh, you don't agree with that either? Then how about this one? He continues to come up with more and more and more, where he's at this point, he's like, bro, I have 10 things to prove what I'm speaking on is facts. You can't dispute all 10. You don't have an answer for all 10. He pushes these people into a corner. It says, I want you to lie to me 10 times. Come up with 10 lies. If you come up with 10 lies, I'll give it to you. Impressive. But they can't. They won't be able to this time. And I love it because this time, this is a direct attack and target at the big fish in this investigation. Turning Point USA and all the Shalami soldiers, that's the little fish, right? We're going to get back to them because they're going to crack. But this right here attacks the big fish. It attacks the big fish. It targets the big fish because they have to respond to this. And they probably won't. But this completely shatters it all. So without further ado, let's get into some of the proof and breakdown of Barron's discovery last night, because this is huge news. I woke up in such a great mood this morning. I don't know about y'all, but I just know that I was watching this episode last night and I couldn't contain myself. I was late to my own live because I just could not wait. I didn't want to miss anything. So I ended up saying, man, I got to run my own show. So I can't sit here and watch Barron all night. So I had to watch the rest going to bed last night. And I woke up this morning too hype, if you can't tell. So Barron went through some court documents last night, which I'm going to put on the screen, hopefully that you can see. No, you can't at the moment. There it is. He went through some court documents last night. I can make it a little bit bigger, where he noticed a timestamp that you can see right here on the screen. Where's my mouse? Ooh, right here on the screen, 6:25 p.m. He revealed this timestamp, and he talks about how the defense lawyers, this is the lawyer talk and expertise conversation that I cannot back up and articulate, but I will try. He pretty much explained that the defense team can't really I guess argue the timestamp or tell the world, tell podcasters. They can't really argue or put out there this 6:25 p.m. timestamp for some reason. But on the court documents, they did. And Barron thinks it was kind of like a cryptic message. Like they knew somebody was going to catch it, somebody like Barron. And here we are. So thanks to the defense team, apparently they are doing a great job as far as trying their best to defend Tyler Robinson, that he did not pull the trigger. So that is Barron's theory, which I believe, and that's his expertise, that's his field, on why they put this timestamp there, because Barron says they didn't have to put the timestamp there. They could have just put the timestamp of the video, the video of him being Mirandized. They could have just put the timestamp of, at 3:36, at the 3:36 minute mark, this is when this conversation went down. They didn't have to put the actual time of day. That's what Barron talks about. So then this revealed a lot of different things, because 6:25 p.m. changes a lot, right? It changes a lot, and we'll get to it. So in this conversation, it says, so Tyler, this is the cop. He's being Mirandized. So Tyler, before we begin, I'm gonna read your rights. I gotta read this screen over here. This one's blurry. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before advice, before we ask you any questions. You have the right to have a lawyer with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning begins. And if you decide to answer questions now, you can stop at any time. Okay, so are you good to proceed? I'd love to talk to you. Tyler Robinson then says, I'd like to speak with my legal counsel. I'm hoping for a fellow in Utah named Doug Terry. Now, that is very interesting, because they told us Tyler Robinson wasn't cooperating, right? Tyler Robinson was this cold-blooded killer that just don't want to talk. He just took the shot of the century, allegedly. He just committed the crime of the century. And, screwed his gun together, bow, right on target, right in the neck, runs off the roof. Man, straight assassin. Denzel Washington on what's that movie called where he does the time and he it's off the top of my tongue. Y'all know the movie I'm talking about. When Denzel Washington, he's just this assassin. And he has the timer on his watch, and he can eliminate 5 people in 20 seconds. I forgot what it's called. But Denzel, that's what Tyler Robinson is. That's what they're alleging that he was this day. This cold-blooded killer that after he did that, he went inside the precinct when he turned himself in and didn't talk. He said, I ain't talking. I ain't snitching. I ain't saying nothing. Well, according to this document right here, he was cooperating. He just chose to exercise his right, which is to remain silent. They just read it to him. And he said, I would like to speak to my legal counsel. So that is interesting, because Blake Neff, I like to call him the vanilla milk dud, especially when he's angry. It's funny when he's angry. He went on there and was talking about he refused to talk. He's this cold-blooded person. The media is saying the same thing. Tyler Robinson doesn't talk. He doesn't say this. He doesn't say that. He wasn't cooperating. He is cooperating. It's in the court documents. Says he would like to speak to his attorney.
Any questioning begin.
Then the cop says, okay, let me pull it back up big for you. For y'all, I'm sorry. Cop says, okay. Tyler Robinson says, told he's pretty good attorney here. I think my folks are trying to get a hold of him, but I think his office is closed for the night. Cop says, okay. Tyler Robinson then says, until I've had an opportunity to speak with someone, I would like to remain silent. So again, it's not that he's not cooperating. He's exercising his right to remain silent. That's totally different than the Fed slop that they've been giving us. Totally different than Blake Neff, which is very interesting, because again, why would y'all portray him as this, he's guilty until proven innocent type of guy? Very weird behavior. Now, why do these timestamps, why do they mean anything? That's because at 6:25 p.m., Baron's going to go through this, but I want to explain more in this video versus playing the video for just my authentic breakdown. Is that 6:25 p.m. is interesting because if they, according to the Fed Slop narrative, they got him at 10 p.m., right? He turned himself in at 10 p.m. the night on September 11th. So if this timestamp says 6:26 p.m., right? I think the first thing that was up here was 6:25 when he first read him the Miranda rights. At 6:25 p.m., you can see right here. If it was at 6:25 p.m., and it was on September 12th because he turned himself in on September 11th at 10 p.m. So he waited an entire, almost a day to be Mirandized. The cops waited an entire day to Mirandize him at 6:25 p.m. on the night of September 12th. That doesn't make any sense because that means he's in a holding cell doing God knows what. You would never do that, right? They're going to tell us we're in over our heads. You don't know what it's like to be law enforcement. But come on, bro. We all know that when you get arrested, especially for something like this, you don't even have to be arrested. They're going to be read. You're going to be read your rights. You have the right to remain silent. They have to make sure they get a confession or something on paper before you confess to your cellmate that you did it. So they're going to Mirandize him immediately. But according to the Fed Slop narrative, they got him at 10 p.m. Right? He turned himself in at 10 p.m. So why would they Mirandize him at 6:30, 6:25 p.m. the night after? That doesn't make any sense. And then Barron starts dissecting everything after this, and it is truly amazing because he goes into so many different things that debunks the Fed Slop. It debunks the original narrative of Tyler Robinson being turned in at 10 p.m. on 9/11. And he goes through so many things to prove that they're lying about it. One of those things being the sheriff that resigned. You know, he resigned a couple weeks ago. I think something Mike Scott, something like that. He was the sheriff that was affiliated with talking to the family friend Tyler Robinson or whatever. And he got the phone call. They said it's Tyler Robinson. I seen him on the TV, blah, blah, blah. You know, let's come up with a game plan to turn himself in. Well, that cop said something interesting on national TV. Let's play it. Again, this is all from Barron. I'm just breaking it down.
Out there initially, I wanted to protect that individual as much as possible. Unfortunately, the court documents, which is standard, he was, I did mine. Well, I was winding down for the evening. And at exactly 8:02 on the 11th, I received a call from a friend of mine who happens to be a retired detective that worked for me for many years. I didn't put that out there initially. I wanted to protect that individual as much as possible. Unfortunately, the court doc.
So he says at 8:02, he talked to the family friend. He's going to go into explaining that they talking about Tyler Robinson. We got the person, and I saw him on the TV. Let's turn him in. Let's come up with a game plan. The important thing about this is that he said at 8:02 he got that call. Well, to our great friend Barron, he debunks everything, and I love him so much. He brings up a news article that shows that there was a press conference. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., right? This is the same night that this guy, the sheriff, said that he talked to somebody at 8:02 p.m. Guess who was at this press conference? Guess who was at this press conference?
A press conference.
You gotta love Barrett, man. You gotta love Barrett. This is golden. This is golden.
We've had several briefings, and he's had an opportunity to walk the crime scene. We appreciate our local law enforcement here. Again, we have Mike Smith, who is the county sheriff here.
Mike Smith is there at 8 o'clock. But he said he was on the phone with Tyler Robinson peoples at 8:02. How? How, Sway? That doesn't make any sense. These people are just getting caught in a lie, and I'm loving it. I'm loving that everything that they said on social media, the digital footprint is amazing. Everything is on social media, and it would never go away. And the worst thing they did was have Charlie Kirk assassinated in front of everybody publicly. They had a better chance doing this at home, and he somehow passed out because he drank the wrong water and something was in it. That way we don't really know what's going on. We can't really dissect everything. They messed up by making it a public assassination in 2026 with the social media and intelligence that we have right now. They messed up. So the sheriff says that doesn't make any sense. Right? And then on top of that, right now, again, the where we're getting to now is that Tyler Robinson is already in custody. He's already in custody at 6:25 p.m. He's getting Mirandized. So he could have been in custody before that. But let's just say the earliest was 6:30. If we're going off of that, Barron then talks about how the FBI drops pictures of Tyler Robinson, that they're still on a manhunt looking for him at 6:15 p.m. Right? He talks about that in his video. I don't want to play too much because I want y'all to go watch it. Give him his views. He deserves his flowers. He drops photos of the FBI posting it on their X, on their Twitter, at 6:15 p.m., still looking for Tyler Robinson. 8 to 10 minutes later, he's being Mirandized. He's already locked up. So why would they release those pictures and say that they're still looking for him? And Barron says that it's probably because they had to push the narrative that the parents noticed him on TV, which is crazy. But, I mean, it makes sense. He's already locked up. Then the craziest part about it is that according to the Fed Slop, right? According to Mike Smith, whatever his name was, the sheriff, if they went to go pick up Tyler Robinson and he turned himself in at 9:30, 10 o'clock, it takes 3 hours. Barron breaks it down. It takes 3 hours to get to where Tyler Robinson was. So if they got to Tyler Robinson at 10:30 or 9:30, 10 p.m. to turn himself in, whatever it is, they picked him up. They would have had to leave to go get Tyler Robinson before the press conference even started. This is crazy, man. This is absolutely nuts. And it debunks everything these people are talking about. And this proves to us that the feds have been lying to our face. The cops have been lying to our face. Our government is in on this. They're in on it. Their lies are starting to be revealed. Truth always wins. Always. In the end. Now, where do we go from here? How do the feds respond with their own narrative being debunked? They lied on themselves. Barron just revealed it. Barron also revealed the arrest records. They lied under oath and said Tyler Robinson was booked into jail at 10 p.m. On the arrest record, on the booking record. Oh, wait. The booking record, the arrest record, where also the footage was missing from that same place of Tyler Robinson walking himself into the jail at 9:30, 10 p.m. Oh, it makes sense because he didn't. He didn't walk into the jail at 9:30, 10 p.m. He was already there. He was already booked in hours ago. That's why the video is not there. That's why it just so happened to vanish. But again, where do we go from here? We know this is factual evidence. that proves that our government is in on Charlie Kirk assassination. Now, yes, we've been screaming this from the rooftops for a long time. But it was always kind of speculation when it came to the feds, right? We knew it didn't make any sense, but we could never really bring facts to the table. We just knew that a 30-06 did not do that to a human neck. You know, the feds did not make sense about, you know, the Tyler Robinson had a rifle in his pants. And, you know, it was speculation. We couldn't really factually prove them wrong, but we were being gaslit. They were trying to make it seem like we were crazy to think a rifle can't fit in that man's skinny jeans, but we couldn't prove it. They took advantage of that. But now that Barron is revealing evidence that proves that we were being lied to, where do we go from here? How does TPUSA respond? How does Miss Shalami respond? We know they won't say anything. I'm curious. I haven't checked X yet this morning. I'm curious on what TPUSA will say. Miss Shalami probably won't say anything. Erica Kirk, for the ones that don't know me, that's what I call her. She probably won't say anything. She should have said something the second Joe Kent came out and said something. She won't say anything. And I would say 80-20. I'm 80% positive TPUSA won't say anything. Anytime something comes up that needs to be addressed, silence. But anytime some BS comes about that doesn't mean anything, oh, they quick to respond. They're quick to be up front, center on the news. No, the bullet, it's not that the bullet did not match. It's ruled inconclusive. Are you serious right now, bro? That's what you're on the news arguing about, Andrew Colbert? The rulings of the ballistic test? At the end of the day, it didn't match. So let's please not go to war over a misleading headline that said the bullet did not match. It's inconclusive. At the end of the day, it still shatters your narrative. But that's what they'll go on the news for. Go on the news for this. Miss Shalami, Andrew Colbert, Blake Neff, go on the news for this. Take a full segment out of your podcast and talk about this. Because this ain't even no attack at TPUSA. Don't come at us with no BS about this. This is an attack on Charlie Kirk's legacy. Proving that the feds lied? What are you talking about? This is an attack. This is all demonic. How? We're sitting here telling you the feds lied, bro. You're supposed to be acting shocked and surprised. And the first thing you jump to is this is an attack on Charlie's legacy? That's not normal. Now, again, they're the little fish. But these are more things that they should be freaking out about, not us. We're freaking out because, you know, it's more so like we've been saying this for a long time and nobody's ever believed us. You know, we've had our little clique that have known that this was fed Slop from the beginning. But this is proof. This is fact. Something that they swear up and down that people never bring to the table. It's brought to the table now. I'm curious to hear the responses about this. Make sure you guys go watch that entire Baron Coleman episode that he dropped last night about this. There's so many more details that I left out. And I want to say one last thing before I get out of here. I want to talk about how disrespectful it is that the old heads and the boomers try to betray what a Gen Zer would do. Because they planted those messages for the world to see. And it's disrespectful because they assumed that this is what a Gen Zer would do. Commit a crime and then go online and start telling random people that he committed a crime. Commit a crime and then text his lover, hey, I just killed somebody. Yeah, I can't wait. I need to go back to get the gun. I can't. That's so disrespectful. That's so disrespectful. That's calling us all stupid in a way. Now, don't get me wrong. Gen Zers will commit some dumb, stupid acts. They'll get on live and snitch on themselves. They will. But again, we're the generation of a lot of live stream activities. They'll do something and then get on live and brag about what they did on live. But that's where the boomers and the old heads, this is how you know all of this is planted evidence, because they don't know that. They think, because they're trying to keep up still. It's the same way when y'all talking to y'all friends and family or friends, and you know somebody got their phone, you know their mama or daddy got their phone because they texting funny. That's what's happening right now. With the text message to Lance and the confession to the Discord, no Gen Zer would ever do that. No Gen Zer would get on Discord and tell 20 random people, hey guys, it was me at UVU. I did it. You all were great and amazing. Thank you for all the fun and games. I'm going to go to jail now and get charged with capital murder and face the death penalty. Thank you guys for everything. We would never do that. So that's disrespectful for the boomers and the old heads to think a Gen Zer would do something as stupid as that, to text people voluntarily and tell everybody that I just committed a crime. Crazy. But that's how they think of us. We have a crazy generation. We do. But we smarter than y'all when it comes to technology. Let's keep that a buck. All the way a buck. But make sure y'all go watch Baron Coleman's video. Amazing. Crazy bombs. And I'm curious to see how this plays out. See what the feds say. See what TPUSA says. See what Ms. Shalami says. Because this should be an outburst day for the people who love Charlie. But we will see. I'm going to keep screaming from the mountaintops. Everybody else keep going. Everybody else have a blessed day. Make sure you guys hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you guys sub as well. And we are on the road to 20K. I appreciate all the support along the way. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one.